Hey folks, Rectality here. I'm just gonna do a little market review and analysis for the week ahead for you guys. Hopefully you find it insightful. What you're looking at here is a tweet that I posted on July 9th for $CAD predicting it would go down to 1.31. That's exactly what we got last week. And just to prove to you that that's not fake, I'm going to copy the URL of the tweet. You can do it yourself as well. I'm going to post it in here on $CAD, and you'll see that that's real, okay? And so what I want to do, 1.31 is down here, by the way, which we reached. So what I want to do is explain to you why I made that call, and hopefully you find it helpful. So basically, it's the same principle that I've already been talking about in the past, where we're looking for an expansion leg, a retracement into a fair value gap, and during that move into the fair value gap, you want to take out short-term liquidity, and then you want to see the failure. Once all of that happens, you have a reasonable expectation for price to travel back down to the low to offset that internal liquidity. Okay, so this is the external liquidity. This premium fair value gap is the internal liquidity. So let's go down in time frames to maybe the 4-hour. The question you want to ask yourself is this taking out short-term liquidity into this high? And yes, it is. It took out that high. It took out this high. So you could even say it took out these highs as well. So it took out the liquidity, moved into that fair value gap, and then failed. And after it failed and broke structure, this is a significant structure break, right? And I believe this was NFP or FOMC, NFP, one of those, CPI, I don't know. One of the big news drivers. So obviously I didn't catch this, right? But once you see the shift, now you have bias, and you can expect price to go lower. So that's what I was expecting. And now that's only on the $CAD. There's also another part of this, which is oil. And so the Canadian dollar in Canada, or Canada rather, is a big exporter of oil. So whenever oil is strong, that means the Canadian dollar itself is strong. And so if oil is strong, right? Oil up equals CAD strong, and then Dixie weak equals CAD strong. So whenever you see Dixie weak plus oil strong, okay, $CAD is very weak, basically. The point is, the Canadian dollar stays strong if oil is strong, and if dollar is weak against the $CAD, you're going to see bigger moves in the $CAD to the downside. Sorry if that's confusing, but it's pretty simple, to be fair. So there was that, and then the question is the dollar weak? Well, last week we had retraced into this leg here. I mean, the entire basically this entire move since May, late May, has shown us weak dollar. It's just that we were retracing and forming a trend line to the upside. And so it was admittedly like, I wasn't shorting any of this, right? I was waiting to see if we would get a failure. I didn't really have any conviction to go higher. Like, you'll see that on the dollar, this fair value gap here, it was completely missed. Like, price turned around before hitting that gap. And so that was kind of hinting to me that, we still have room to go. It tapped the top of it, but there's still the midpoint and the low of the gap, plus all this liquidity, and whatnot. So I was bearish on the dollar once it failed this, after it rated this consolidation and failed down here. That was Friday. I was like, okay, this is definitely gonna go lower. So basically that happened, and dollar CAD gave us a short. And so, you know, your method for getting short, it's a little complicated, I suppose, because basically the question is, well, how far is it going to retrace up into this? And you kind of have to look at the whole marketplace to answer that question, and you have to also consider the daily profile as well. And so let's just move on. This is Monday, last Monday, and my mindset on Monday is, okay, I'm definitely bearish, or dollar is for me is definitely bearish, is very likely to come down here and further. So what do I need to see in order to get short on the dollar? Well, I want to see a push up towards fair value, and then a raid on short-term liquidity into the fair value gap. Well, that's exactly what we got here. And more importantly, sorry, this is the range we're dealing with, by the way. More importantly, the raid on the short-term liquidity happened during the New York session, which is a classic timing for a reversal on the day. So you got a lot of things lining up there. And basically, you see the raid, market is pushing into these fair value gaps, and then it shifts lower. And another market that I feel was more clear for catching that entry would have been Euro. So Euro, this is Monday. Oh, sorry. This is Monday on the Euro. This is the range we were dealing with. And then you just want to think, where's the fair value gaps? Here we go. Here's the H1 fair value gap. What else is there? This whole thing is a 4-hour fair value gap. So the 1 hour is a refinement of that, which is useful. And then you have the London low here. And so in London on Monday, the Euro retraced, and then it didn't hit this fair value gap at all, and it went up. And so for me, this is a fake move, because it didn't hit, like this here, this is fake because it didn't hit the fair value. And so I set an alert on that gap thinking, you know, maybe we'll come down there, and then I'll watch how we react. And so we reacted off of it, obviously very strong. And so my mindset was, oh, you know what? It's the New York session. This market's very bullish. I don't think it's likely to go any lower. If it reacts off of this, I'm going to get on board. And then I'm going to, sorry about that. And then I'm going to manage the trade. And so that has a strong correlation with the dollar CAD, obviously. And so if you wanted to short the dollar CAD, sort of at the same time that this thing is happening on Euro, at the same time it's happening on dollar, let me tell you something. This is how you trade. You guys might be confused as fuck, and to be fair, like, I would be confused if I didn't know this stuff already. But this is how you trade. You have to look at multiple markets. You have to see alignment. You have to see intermarket relationships agreeing with each other. That's how you catch those moves. And so that's how I caught the dollar CAD short. And so then the question you might ask is, what if it comes back, right? Well, yeah, it's a good question, and it's a fair question. But basically, whenever you have this expansion, retracement, and then it leaves that range, it really shouldn't come back and take out the high, because this is now an intermediate term high. Michael taught about that in video 12, Mentorship 2022. Very important lesson. But basically, once it's left this range, if it comes back and takes that out, unless it does it with SMT, that's basically not good for you. Like, you might be wrong. And so you just manage the trade, you take a partial here, move your stop to break even, and you just let it play out. So that's how you would do that. But hope this was insightful. In terms of analysis for the week, I think I'm gonna have to get back to you guys because it is pretty impossible to make any meaningful calls at this moment in time because the market has expanded so much. We're waiting for it needs to consolidate, and then it needs to either make a move into premium and fail or make a move into discount and fail. We have a weekly fair value gap here, and that's just below Friday's low, as you can see. So it's possible that we'll make a move down to this, reject it, and go higher just for retracement. I don't think this move is over. Or we could consolidate, go higher. It basically, it's 50-50, and it's not safe to trade right now. So let's wait for more information. There's some red folder news this week. We'll just wait for that. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I could look through the other markets, about every single one of them. I've already done it, and they all pretty much have this scenario, so it's not worth giving any advice or analysis on just yet. So we'll touch back. I'll do some analysis later in the week, but hope this was at least a bit helpful. All the best.